Racers, so today we're going after the water pump on this 82 C4 Corvette, and it's down here. So first I'm going to take this alternator off. I'm going to take off my hose. I have a drip pan down below, and then we're going to take all our belts off, or actually we're going to take those fan bolts loose, take that fan off, and then we're going to take all our belts off, and see if we can get it out. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take these 15mm bolts loose on the top of the tensioner and our through bolt here on the bottom, and we're going to be able to move our alternator off and get our belt out of there. So I go ahead and I got these loose down here. These are 1/2 inch. So I'm going to get these. So this is on the verge of the metric standard switchover. So you're going to find all kinds of weird things like this where it's 1/2 or it's 15. So this is the air pump, and it's a 15 for your tensioning bolt, and it's also a 15 for your through bolt at the bottom on the front, and it's kind of hidden by the pulley. So to get it out of there, you have to take the pulley off. Okay guys and gals, so there's take this air pump stuff off. It's one side so I get my bolt for my AC compressor, and there's some other ones too, I just haven't seen them yet. But so you gotta take that off. There's a 15 here, unscrew that, and this will flop out of the way. Be careful not to break this plastic. This plastic's brittle and they will break pretty easily. So now that's out of the way, sling it back. This nice little holder GM made for you. Just tuck that underneath there. And then, so this is pretty sure that's another 15. It might be bigger than that. No, it's probably like a 17. Or maybe even, I don't know. But we'll take that off. And then we have a bolt here that will loosen. Because I think that's a pivot bolt down there. So now that I got my bolts loose on my AC compressor, I'll go ahead and get my belt out of here. And all these belts are going to get stuck in here because the power steering is not going to come off until you get that, because that's in front of all these. But now there's tension off of my pulley, so I can get my fan out of the way. Now I'm just going to go ahead and just tap on the fan a little bit, and then it should come off. So in order to make this work, I had to take the fan out, then I'm able to get your both pulleys. It's 2 section pulleys, one for the front, one for the back. It comes out. We're going to take this off. And we're going to drop it to the bottom. And then I'm going to take this off down yonder. And we might take this out of the way to get a little more exposure to see things. So, once you get the pulleys off stuff, you want to make sure you mark this at the front. This is the rear pulley. And then which belts you take off all the way, because these ones are still stuck on there, as you can see, because I haven't taken off the power steering belt, but I'm going to have to, because I'm going to replace all these because they're garbage. Anyways, so mark that for the air pump. And this bracket, and mark for the bottom. So $1 could save you a lot of trouble. So just, mark everything you take off is the main thing here. So then we're gonna go ahead, got this bracket out of the way, and I go over here, see if I get this bracket off. I think that comes off there, and this pump will come out of the way. So as you can see, that bolt is out. It's loose, but it won't get past this pulley. So I've got my handy dandy chain tool that you guys have seen before. Broken these bolts loose, and they're all 3 of them are 10s. Take that out, get the air pump off, and then get a little better access to see what's going on with the water pump. So this bolt goes into the intake. You want to make sure you put some RTV back on it and put it in. Take out your bottom bolt here on your bracket. So this is the air pump bracket. You want to make sure that you don't lose those washers. They're very important for putting it back on. And I've loosened my clamps, and I'm going to work on my bottom radiator hose and work around the hose and get it out of there, get some coolant draining. Alright, so now I'm going to go after these last 2 bolts here, and this should come out. So we're gonna go ahead, we already got the pump off, so you see this gasket material here, I gotta clean this all nice and off, and this off here, and on your bolt, when you go back in, you wanna make sure you do some RTV, because These can leak and cause a leak if you don't put RTV on them. So we're going to clean this off really nice. So as you can see on your pump that this is not on the new one, and there's also the studs you have to change over also. So you have to take this off the old one and take this plug out of the new one, and you wrap this in like Permatex thread sealant, and you put it back in. And then we got to take our studs out of our old pump and put them into our water pump housing for the impeller. This is the Permatex thread sealer. Really good stuff. Works great for water sealing. So I got the thread sealant back on there. I'm gonna put it in place and get it tight, and go do my other thing. So most pumps don't come with these, so you have to take the old ones off. So put this in a vise, get this pliers right there. We're not going to mess up the threads right there in the middle, as you can see. And then we're going to pull it. So you can see with what I've done here, that is too far. You don't want to go that far. You want to make sure that the studs you go in and that they're just barely sticking out the backside, because that's proper clearance. So we got everything back together. So I'm going to make sure I have my right bolts in the right holes before I put it in there. And then we're going to put RTV on our new gasket, RTV on our new bolts, or old bolts. As you can see here, I've covered it pretty good with RTV, just because sometimes the surface gets rusted and pitted and it doesn't seal that well. So I use black RTV, which works great. Kind of want to put everything in here, is just don't tie anything up, because there's all these brackets and stuff. It's easier to leave it kind of loose and then put the brackets in and then tighten up everything afterwards so you don't mess up your gaskets. So this bolt goes into the intake at the edge, so I'm putting some RTV on it. It's going to go through my bracket, and then it's going to be sealed back up. You want to make sure that you put new hose clamps and everything that you take off, because the hose clamps lose their tensile strength, so it's just easier to replace them so you know that they're not going to blow on you down the road. So you have this bolt here, and so your bracket goes through there, and you have a bolt here, so you got to put all this back together. Howdy fixers, so that is how you do your water pump on your 82 Corvette, and it's got the dual TBI single injector each side bank. What I want to add also is that you want to make sure that I didn't show it, but you want to make sure that your fan bolts are nice and tight. Just get a screwdriver in there and get your nuts nut good and tight. Make sure there's plenty of threads for each nut. That's a big thing you need to do. Just make sure your belts are nice and tensioned. And so hopefully this video was helpful. If you have any questions or anything like that, just comment down below. And that is kind of a pain in the butt. The biggest things you want to take from this is that the brackets. The brackets is what you want to take from this, is because anything early 80s, late 70s, you had a lot of smog pump stuff. It's not as bad as like an early 80s Dodge 318, which those are a pain in the butt, because you got a bracket on top of a bracket on top of the bracket, and it's just, you got to remember where that stuff goes. So what you should do is, just like what I do here, take pictures, take video, write stuff down with a pen, and just make a mental note of it, because washers, spacers, a certain way a bracket overlaps something or underlaps something, it's really going to save your bacon. So just be super reliant and resilient of what you are doing, and just plan each move, because if you don't, it's really gonna bite you in the butt. But hopefully this video is helpful. Hopefully I'm gonna save somebody some time and some energy. If you have any questions or anything like that, like I said, comment down below. If you like what I'm doing for you, just give me a like and subscribe. And this is what I do at my channel. We just we fix things. I try to give you some information that you don't know already, and hopefully it's helpful and help you be your own mechanic. So if you have any questions or anything like that, like I said, just comment down below and have a good one.